first one. You're giving me attention. I think they're making me lose, and you need those, and the beat that one by one.
So welcome to another episode of the Pepper Soup Talk Show. My name is Aki. Here, my partner Toby. We got a special return guest to the show. He was here last year. He gave us a story about how he was actually able to leave his day job and go full time into investing in crypto and DeFi. You know, he actually introduced us and our audience to the DeFi space. Shout out to the Royals, and shout out to Lazy Moose, and we've had a couple of NFT, DeFi, crypto, Web3 guests on our show. And so, if you want a more fundamental understanding of the space when it comes to crypto and the like, definitely go check out those episodes, or even our first episode with our guest today. But we're excited to hear about how things have been going for him over the past year. There's a lot happening in the crypto space right now. We've seen since you were last here, Luna's gone down. Yeah. FTX recently gone down. Yeah. 3AC. I mean, we can honestly go on and on about
Voyager.
About what is happening. So, without further ado, this guy, we follow him on social media. So we know you're doing well. And I'm trying to and you shining today, man. So, Ferebory Keita, welcome back to the Pepper Soup Talk Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. And the last year was pretty eventful, I must say. Like he reiterated before, what has gone through the whole entire space, as you can see. Probably right now it's like a lot of negative more than the positive. People are saying stay away, it's a scam and stuff. So I mean, with anything new that comes around, it's gonna have a lot of skeptics. Like back in the 2000s, early 2000 with the .com bubble, everyone said, the internet, it's nothing, it's a fad. So we're pretty much going through the growing pains. It's still early, but there's still a lot that needs to be, people have to adapt and get into the space. But it's still hard for the average person to get into the space. So we're still going through a lot. That's why you saw all the growing pains with the current state of the market, FTX, Luna, Voyager, all these we call it centralized exchanges are, going down, mismanaging people's monies and stuff. So as you saw with the price of Bitcoin, I think last time we were here, we were, 45, 50, and then it ended up going to 70,000. Yeah. Today, we're sitting at, I think 21, 22,000, and actually took a dip today. So as you can see also with the stock market, we had a crazy year with COVID, with the government, with the stimulus. So, Fed printing a lot of money and the rates were low. So a lot of people were making money, I hope you guys, I know you invested the stocks and I hope you were able to capitalize on that.
So you mentioned something key. Okay, you mentioned how a lot of these exchanges have gone down, have been centralized exchanges, and even just companies in general. And when you're on the show last time, you introduced us to Uniswap, and these decentralized exchanges, the DEXs,
correct.
And I know that you spend a lot of your time trading in DeFi.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about how that's been like for you since then and over the last year, throughout all this tumultuousness and the volatility of the market? Like, how has that been for you being in the DeFi space? Because I've noticed that with DeFi, apart from Luna, what happened with that?
Yeah,
those exchanges, the apps, like they're all continuing to run.
Yeah.
So what's that been like for you?
Yeah. So as far as the DeFi, everyone has been affected by, FTX, Luna, all the like companies crashing because that's a lot of money that people have invested in the market. Therefore, volume has dried down. So there's not a lot of new money coming in. Part of this is also because the SEC still hasn't provided, regulatory regulatory clarity on the markets of how things should be regulated. So I think a lot of people are on the sideline, like as far as institutional clients. I mean, some that were in, they got burned with what happened with FTX and Terra. So a lot of people are actually waiting, in my opinion, on the sideline for SEC to come in and give a clear guideline on how the market should be regulated, like how it is with stocks.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of hedge funds, some of them are probably quietly buying right now because we're at the bottom. Like, as you know, as far as if you go on the history of Bitcoin, every all-time high had a 70 or 75% retracement.
Yeah.
Like when I first got in, we went to 20, went to 3,500. And then from there, we went all the way to 70,000. And then now we're back. We went all as low as 16,000. So, so I'm optimistic about the market that will hopefully get back up there with, I would say, regulatory clarity from the SEC. But as far as DeFi, yeah, we were all affected. I mean, Uniswap is not the same as what it was before.
So how so? Like how?
With the amount of tokens that's been created. Because one thing it's hard to explain to the audience, but as far as transaction fees, back in when the market was booming and hot, it cost a lot to deploy a token. So now, since the market has, gone down, a lot of people left the space. A lot of normies are not part of the market anymore. So therefore, there's less people on chain. So the people that are left right now are like the elites. It's like the elites are battling against the elites, basically. And it's hard to make money now. There's not a lot of dumb money out there anymore. So therefore, to create a token back in the days, you had to spend almost $4,000 to make a coin. Now you can make a coin for $100.
Wow.
And there's legit, like, if you look on Telegram on like new contracts that I go through daily, there's thousands of contracts that go around, and 99.9% of them are scams. So it's very tough and very annoying to deal with. On top of that, there's no volume like before. So the way Uniswap works is, just like investing into stocks, you buy, as more people buy in, the price goes up and liquidity builds up. So same thing with what's happening now is that there's less of that. There's less opportunities. There's still opportunities out there, but it's much harder nowadays to be able to capitalize on those.
Gotcha.
So
it's that's all very interesting. You say like the volume, a lot of the volume is down. Not as many people who are in the space right now, and it's for our audience who is tuning in with us today. Definitely go back. I mentioned in the intro, we have a number of episodes that we've done on the space. So if we need like kind of like a refresher or like an understanding on like the basics, definitely go check out our first episode with Keita, or check out the Royals episode, especially. But we want to go deeper into this. Like when you say it costs very little to create a token today, like $100 versus $4,000. Like can you elaborate on that? Like why did it cost $4,000 before and only cost like $100 now?
Part of that is, like I said, the amount of people that are on the network. So the network was, as you know, Ethereum just recently went from proof of work to proof of stake. One other thing was also the price of Ethereum was much higher. So Ethereum at peak was trading at 4,800. So, and now today it's trading at 16, it's hovering around 1600. So you have that big price decline. On top of that, there's less people on the network. Therefore, the transaction fees are not as much as what it was before. So before, like when I was trading, like to buy a coin, it would cost me $200 in trading fees. Today, I can buy a coin for less than $5 in trading fee, or even less than $3 or $2.
Word.
So that's part of why the transaction, the creating the token nowadays is much less. And plus, Ethereum decided to scale to the proof of stake mechanism, which I haven't really seen any big differences. Because when the market, when NFTs start, like they're the biggest problem in terms of the transactions fees going up, because once the minting begins, everyone is trying to mint tokens, and the GUI, we call it the GUI, as far as when we're referring to transaction fees, that skyrockets, and therefore everyone's paying a lot to process the transaction.
So I got one more question for I know Toby got some questions for you, but you've been in the space for a while now. You were here in the cycle before, and you stayed through. Like, as when Bitcoin crashed from 20K to 3K, you continued in the space during that time, right?
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about what it was like going from the previous crash when Bitcoin crashed from 20K to 3K, and being in space during that time, versus what it's been like this time around? Because DeFi didn't even exist back then either, right?
No.
So what has that experience been like going through this cycle versus the previous cycle?
Well, personally for me, this cycle has been a lot easier because I've gone through it before. The first time I was completely blindsided because I didn't know, I didn't really understand the markets. I was thinking everything is going to become like Bitcoin. So I was holding everything, So in 2017, I didn't know any better. I just thought, just hold this coin. Within 3-4 years, it'll become like Bitcoin and you're going to become a millionaire and all this stuff. Not knowing that that's not the case. That 99% of these coins go to zero. And if you look on CoinMarketCap, if you look at 2017, you look at the top 10, and you look at the top 10 now, totally different. There's new coins that are in the top and vice versa, So as far as the differences, back then it was more of the ICO craze, where you would pool, like for us, we'd pool funds with like a syndicate, or we call it, like, these guys will pool funds together. It's like crowdfunding, like how do we call this? Because we weren't able, like, as far as
you said ICOs?
ICOs, because this is what was happening, right? So you had a VC, a venture capitalist, who would get a deal with the project very early on, and they would buy a certain amount of shares at a seed price. And that VC would turn around and sell it to someone who's doing a crowdfunding. And we, as far as the community, we would send to the crowdfunder to be able to connect with the VC to be able to buy some of his shares. So that's what that was the main play in 2017. And also, there were no decentralized exchanges, so you were stuck with Binance, Coinbase. So back then, it was more like the stock market, because you were not investing into highly volatile coins, like how would I say, like pharmaceutical stocks in the stock market. So you were more investing into blue chips. Therefore, there was not much volatility, less chance for you to make money, and it's not going crazy because everything crashed with the ICOs. Versus now, even though the market has crashed, the amount of opportunities also has declined, but there are still opportunities out there where there's this meme coins, with, the Shiba, the Akitas, or the Elon or Dogecoin that everyone knows. Those are still like the pioneers as far as now. So we still investing in those, and there's copycats all the time that come out and say, we're going to be the next Dogecoin, we're going to be the next Shiba, and people invest. Some people make money and some people don't make money, and most of the times the coin ends up pumping to a certain amount of market cap and it just ends up going to zero, because once it gets high to a certain point, it's like the team has made enough money and they're ready to just quit. There's not that many honest people in the market anymore. So that's as far as that the difference. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, no, you did.
I know I tend to ramble off.
Oh no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, so you kind of touch base on it a little bit. So on your last interview, you did mention, the market was really hot, but you did give a caveat. It will come down any point from now because, 2017. And just my experience in 2017, I wasn't really heavy in the crypto this time around because I don't know what's going to happen at any point in time.
Yeah.
But for you, when you were anticipating the turn down, what are some things you put in place in order to sustain yourself through this down period? I know you did mention the Airbnb stuff.
Yeah. So that actually, the Airbnb didn't quite go as planned because I was very busy with crypto. So I wasn't really there was no oversight on my brother working on it. But he has gone into a different venture, and he seems to be doing pretty well with that as far as doing turnkey. I know you guys do Airbnb as well.
Yeah, well,
you had a place.
Yeah, well, I was doing Airbnb till very recently. I transitioned into more of a content house now. But Airbnb in Philly is interesting now because a policy just went in place 2 weeks ago that you have to now have a certain host license if you're going to be doing it. So a lot of people, I'd say probably the majority of Airbnb hosts accounts were basically suspended. Yeah, until you get that license. But
okay,
but Airbnb is definitely good, but you have to have systems in place.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we could.
I didn't know that. But that would also mean that the people who did get their license are making.
Oh yeah, because more people are going
supply.
to for sure.
Yeah. So yeah. But as far as the Airbnb side that I ventured into, it didn't quite work out. But that was me investing into my brother.
Yeah, gotcha.
But he's now doing turnkey.
And you said, was it in Miami he was investing in?
Yeah. We had a place in Atlanta, Miami, and we had, I think, the most units we had was here. It's 77 units here in Philadelphia.
Did you say 77?
7.
Oh, 7 units.
7 units here. I think 3 in Atlanta and 2 down into Florida. So, but it didn't go as planned, and he decided to venture off to do turnkey, which he explained as, I still don't quite understand it, but he said it's a less
long-term rentals.
Correct. So it's pretty much getting the client, showing them, hey, I have a place. So he does it mainly in Mexico. So in Tulum,
in Mexico.
Yeah.
Word.
So that's where he's based, and he has a lot of clients now, and pretty much he gets them. So some people will actually want a place in Mexico. So the way he pitches them, hey, you want a place? I can get you a place, but you're not going to be living here half the time. And during that half the time, I can generate income for you through Airbnb. So that's how he's getting all his clients. So
sounds like profit sharing or whatever.
Yeah.
So almost like co-living.
Yeah,
co-living, like a timeshare type.
Yeah, timeshare kind of deal. But to go back to your question, how did I prepare for the downturn? I would say 2017 definitely taught me a lot into that. So what I mainly did was I sold a lot of the cryptocurrencies that I have to stable coins, USDC, which is regulated by the US government here. So company is called Circle. So that's the most safest stable coin, in my opinion. And to go back to what the collapse that happened with Terra, they had created their own stable coin called UST, which ended up collapsing because it was pretty much like a Ponzi scheme. It was an algorithmic stable coin, and it wasn't backed 1-to-1 by the US dollar versus what USDC now, that's back to back. If you put $1 into the market, they have $1 into the bank connecting to your $1. So that's what I did as far as, preparing for the economic downturn. And that taught me a lot because I've heard stories from my crypto buddies who've got wiped out. And it's sad to hear that some people went $2-3 million. Now they have nothing. So it's pretty crazy. And most of those people that I talked to, they weren't there in 2017. So they were not taking profits. So you have to take profits because not everything's going to go up all the time. So big lesson for them. I'm down on some things, but I'm not as bad as some other people are experienced. I know a guy who had $12 million. Now he's down to like 2. So like, that's a pretty big downfall, you know? So like, you got to be able to, take profits, put some money into stable coins, take some money out into your bank account, so you can sleep well at night, because sometimes, like with Luna, a lot of people had their money into DeFi and they were, earning yields 20%. And it just, like, luckily I never got into that because I was like, this doesn't make sense. Where's the money coming from? How are you able to give people 20% on their investment yearly? Where is it coming from? So it didn't make sense. So a lot of people had their monies into those DeFi protocols like Terra. And when it collapsed, they lost all their life savings. And
it's crazy to think how even through the centralized exchanges also, because all of these different exchanges, companies were doing similar things like Voyager, 3AC. I mean, we just saw, FTX was literally the biggest.
The biggest,
literally the biggest.
That was the shock to me.
Because they were all giving out pretty sizable yield. You could get 7%, 10% on Voyager. Like, so it's just, honestly, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable when you look at it.
It was crazy for me because I was making, by not doing anything and having my crypto into yields, I was making $7,000-8,000 a week. Just not doing anything. And I was like, life is good. I don't ever have to do anything. I don't have to trade. And this is how it's going to be. And then the whole Terra collapse happened. And to go back to Voyager, 3AC, Celsius, they had their monies into Terra. So when Terra collapsed, it started
like a
domino effect. And therefore, even Gemini by the Winklevoss twins, they had their Gemini Earn program. And they were big into Terra, and they also went down. But their exchanges are still operating. But as far as the Earn part, I hear a lot of people lost their money into that.
So with that being said, so you did prepare for the downturn. And now, the pandemic, people were just running it up. It was easy to make money, stock market, crypto market, real estate. There's money everywhere. But now that kind of slowed down, you're lucky enough to be like, all right, cool, set this aside. What's kind of your strategy now in this pandemic market?
So this post-pandemic, I've started scaling back into the market, and I still think we're not out of the woods yet. There's a chart out there, like a economic chart, where it shows like the current market cycles. And if you look at the chart that we have currently on Bitcoin, and you match it directly to that chart, it's showing that this rally that we're seeing now, I'm sure you've seen it in crypto, Bitcoin going from 16 to 22, 23, Ethereum from 1100 to 1600, that this is like a sucker's rally, like a bear market rally.
Yeah.
So I'm still like skeptical.
Yeah.
I put some money in and I'm starting to scale back out because I think worse is yet to come. We might go even lower. We have a depression looming. A lot of people called for it, like Jeff Bezos, Jamie Dimon, and those guys. They said 2023 we're going to see a depression, but as far as January, everything's out of the window. And everybody's back in the markets. Everybody's like, oh, now we'll see how it goes. But to go back to your point, having been able to like scale out and put some money aside has allowed me to get back into the market and buy into different cryptocurrencies at a much higher amount because I didn't have that kind of money back in 2017. Because 2017, everything was wiped out, and I was not able really to buy the dips, how you say. So I was working at the time, so I was putting part of my paycheck into Bitcoin, part of my paycheck into Ethereum, saying it's going to go up. But since thank God I was blessed in 2020, 2021. I had put some money away. I can put, like a bigger size positions into these various cryptocurrencies and traded 10, 15% and take my money out and be happy with that and be content with that and still deal with my regular shit coins and getting rugged. The rug meaning getting scammed, which is happening daily. I get rugged all the time. I'm like, why am I still doing this?
Man, it's like you answered the question I was going to ask, which was how you feel about the current market.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks we have seen crypto rally.
Yeah.
And I'm very active on crypto Twitter. Like I just be, seeing what the sentiment is, and people turn it's crazy how quickly the sentiment changes. Like people turn bullish very quickly.
Very quickly.
Yeah. but I was like,
everyone was calling for $800, $500 Ethereum, Bitcoin less than 10,000.
Yeah.
Now we're going up. Everybody's like, it's going to 140,000. So it's, the sentiment changes very quick, and a lot of accounts are not as active as before, as a lot of crypto Twitter. I say if you're investing in the crypto and you're looking more into like crypto Twitter, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of good accounts on there, but most of the accounts on there, I call it is exit liquidity. What they're posting is you might be too late. Yeah, I learned that in the stock market following Zach Morris and some of those big guys and Michael and Esther. Yeah, they recently had the SEC filed a complaint against them for manipulating the markets because they were trading. We were trading like biotechs, like small caps into in the stocks, and they were manipulating the prices.
These were stock market?
Yeah, stock market. You guys didn't see?
I see the one they put on Elon.
And they put like all these names, like the SEC versus...
I saw one
all these
crypto
Twitter
related
accounts.
Recently. Got you. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the guy you probably saw was for the crypto, was the guy who exploited the Mango market.
Mango markets, Mango markets. Yeah, that's what I saw.
So that guy, he hacked. And then he was very open about it on Twitter and bragging and stuff. And he actually, talking about him, he went on to make a shitcoin.
Wow.
He deployed a coin called Mango, which he put in, I think, $500,000 and deployed it. Of course, I bought. A lot of other people bought. Right. And luckily, I was like, nah, this doesn't make sense. So I ended up selling. I think I made like maybe $5,000 from that trade. Yeah. And then he ended up scamming people for almost $200,000 in the shitcoin space. Plus the millions of dollars he already exploited from the actual protocol, Mango. So, and then he got charged by the SEC. He was very open about it on Twitter.
Yeah.
Saying he did it and he was bragging. I'm like, God, are you crazy?
Wow.
So when I saw the government, the SEC go after him, I was like, yes, finally. About time. Something is happening.
Yeah.
Like Sam Bankman-Fried.
Right.
He's currently out.
Yeah. They let him out on bail for, was it like 80 million or something?
Some crazy amount. But he put up collateral, so he didn't really end up paying that amount.
Right.
Yeah. Because he said he has $130,000 in his bank account.
But, yeah.
Knowing he has, I'm sure he has a lot of wallets that has
I saw an article earlier about him selling his house in DC. Currently, he had like a $3 million house in DC that he's selling. So he,
and he had a lot of properties in the Bahamas.
yeah.
So, FTX was probably the economy in Bahamas.
Right.
Like all the like all the employees, and they were all doing crazy things. The restaurants were booming, nightclubs were booming, real estate was booming. So with the FTX going down, I'm sure if you look on the real estate market in the Bahamas, it has plummeted. It was FTX was fueling that economy. He had it on the hand, like in his hands, pretty much. And so, and that's why he was free for a while. Like when the whole thing went down, he was chilling in his condo, going out to the coffee shop. Imagine that happened here in the United States, and you had a bank that you defrauded millions, billions of dollars. They'll get you in jail the next day.
Right.
So,
this guy, SBF has so many political connections.
Yes.
Also, I think they said he was he's like a top 5 donor to the
Biden campaign.
And apparently he actually also donated to the Republican campaign too, but wasn't publicized or something.
Yeah. So the whole story behind that is that the back end story was he was trying to overtake Binance. Like, this is conspiracy. So he tried to get in with the regulators of the US and, donating all these kinds of money so he can finally get the regulatory license from the United States, which would put him above Binance and overtake Binance.
He got because Binance.
So when that all was going down, and CZ, which is the CEO of Binance, he came out publicly saying that that Sam or there's some third party who's providing lawmakers false accusations about our firm and stuff. So he came out publicly and said, so when FTX was founded, Binance actually was one of the angel investors into the startup.
Oh, wow.
So they had invested a lot of money into it, and they were holding their tokens. So when this whole thing went down, he came out publicly saying he's holding, I believe it was like $700 million worth of their tokens, and he's ready to sell on the market. If I don't remember what exactly he said, but so when he came out and publicly said that, everyone started panicking because this guy has so much money into this coin, and the coin is not really liquid.
Yeah.
So it's not really backed by anything.
Yeah.
So, and they don't have their own blockchain. It was just a coin to be used on their exchange. So when he came out publicly, everyone started selling the coin, which created a bank run, and everyone started to withdraw their money from FTX, which then lead up to the crash and everything blowing up. And so.
Man, that was. I remember seeing it happen. I think I told Toby like the week after or the time after asked the bank on what's happening. So I was like, this feels exactly like Luna, like what was happening with Luna.
Yeah,
and around that time when Luna happened, like I just started getting back into trading because like I was heavy into mostly DeFi, and I started getting back into more like regular trading. And And when I saw Luna, a lot of people was shorting during that time, was shorting everything. And so
that was such an easy trade.
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
Yeah.
A couple of friends of mine did it. Shorted Luna to 0.
Yeah.
Solana,
Yeah.
which was held a lot by FTX.
Yeah.
So they were like the backers of it mainly, and they're saying that it's their blockchain, blah blah blah. But they were like the huge investors of it. So that was another coin that went from $200 to I think $8 at the low, and it's starting to recover because that's an actual blockchain.
Yeah.
Like Ethereum, Solana is a blockchain. It will continue to work even though people dump it, and it's still going to be there.
Right.
So Solana is still a chain that people are active on, and recently the founder of Ethereum came back out and pretty much he called the bottom on Solana and said, Solana is a blockchain and people shouldn't be doing this and that. I don't know the exact post, but when he came out publicly and tweeted about Solana, the price went reverse, $8 to $25 where it's at now.
Wow.
So,
and Solana actually has a phone that's coming out too. I saw they've got like a Solana phone.
Yeah, he said to support the developers because a lot of people are still developing the blockchain for Solana, so it's still there. I mean,
and it's also Apple specifically, like the fees to purchase NFTs, you got to pay like a 30%. Like developers have to pay like 30% fees to get.
I heard about that.
Yeah,
and
like the app's listed.
The crypto guys, we're not happy about that. So nobody's like, Apple, come on, we're not going to use you.
So I can see this. I can see the Solana phone being, and I don't think it's necessarily there to take market share or anything from Apple, but I can see it being, at least used by like a niche, group. It'll be interesting.
And just a follow up with, I guess, my original question. I forgot what it was, but so since you see the volatility in like the crypto market and everything we had before, in terms of diversification, is anything you're eyeing now since things are settling down, like being an angel investor, doing other things, or
I'm still keen into the markets. It's not dead yet. I'm afraid that I won't be able to put my time into something else if I decide to. Granted, I have, bought land back home and stuff like that. I'm doing things. I'm actually building a water plant back in my village.
Oh,
wow.
You sound like Akon out here.
So I'm building that, and we have I built like a big factory for it, and I'm just waiting on the final materials to start production as far as the water bottles. And, back home, they have the water bottles and then they also have the water packets.
Yeah, the bags.
Yeah, the bags. The bags is cheaper.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that in Zirikure, which is where I grew up.
Yeah.
Is that the same place Sekuse is from, or?
Conakry. Yeah. I mean, we all live in Conakry. A lot of, most of my family live in Conakry, but my dad grew up in Zedekure. I was born.
Gotcha.
I grew up there. So he loves that. He's there now and he's overseeing the buildup of that. And hopefully by Q2, we should be live in production into water bottles and stuff like that.
Got you.
So as far as diversification, that's one, and the other is pretty much buying land, and I'm planning to build, but with the market, I gotta slow down, and also with everyone else, I'm sure real estate is not as hot as what it was before. So, but so that's what I'm doing as far as diversifying.
Landing back home?
Land back home.
Gotcha.
I mean, I've got a couple of friends who've approached me as far as like flipping homes. I'm looking into going into that. So yeah.
Got you.
I was gonna say the Philly, at least in my opinion, the Philly market is still hot. I'm not sure if I told you my block. They actually incorporated as part of Brewery Town.
Oh, word.
Yeah. So I think,
Wow, really?
Yeah. So I think that whole place is about to.
Yeah.
And in that particular section, I feel like the prices are still going up. Depends everywhere else is going down, which is
Interesting.
weird. Yeah.
That's interesting.
I mean, we call it gentrification.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it's very, and not to digress, but it must be dope because you living in that area and seeing how that immediate market is. Because I guess that block in itself is almost like a mini market in itself. Because even as the real estate market crashes, there are going to be pockets, right, where you can still invest, or people are still buying, or people are still selling. And I feel like it's those places where appreciation is more forced because people are buying and renovating than the overall market. And then you have the bigger investors are still gonna, they're still gonna buy. Even not don't got the money.
Yeah, no, sorry, kind of sidetracked your interview. But remember when we were looking at places on the block also? I feel like in the other areas in Philly, a lot of the big investors already bought up a lot of land, but that place still, when we looked it up, there's not a lot of like big buyers on that block. And it's kind of weird. So we have like 2, 3, or 4 houses on the block, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but the value based on what's going on, the block is still there. I'm not sure why investors are not there.
Aren't.
So that's a discussion.
We gotta talk off air.
Oh, good, man. I mean, just like there's opportunities everywhere.
Yeah.
No matter how bad it gets, there's still going to be small areas that you can take advantage of and make money. Yeah. That's why you got to keep going. You don't quit. With the market going down, I'm sure a lot of people have tuned out
right
until they see the price going up again, and everybody's going to come back in. So you're like, damn, I should have bought it when it was that low, or I should have paid attention. It's crazy how people are attracted to green versus red. Right. When it's low, everybody's scared.
Right.
So
it's seeing your journey in the space. I tap into your Telegram every now and then.
Yeah,
like I see
more rents, right?
but you guys are active, man. You're active.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there was one time, I think, was it like the World Cup?
Yeah.
Someone in that chat won something. Was it?
Yeah.
Was that you?
No.
Okay.
I was trolling.
Okay.
So someone, I think he made a bet before the World Cup started and said that Morocco was going to make it to the semifinals, which is like impossible. If you really. And that ended up happening. He won like a crazy amount of money. Yeah. So I had posted out my channel, and everybody was like, yo, man, you that was really you? Like every group, everybody's like, rank. Yeah. Did you really win that?
Yeah.
So that was.
How you trolling? You're trolling. Got you.
With the World Cup, everybody was tuned in. Everyone was unified. Even crypto, everybody's watching it. So it was a good time.
Got you.
Yeah, to take your mind off the market a little bit and focus on socializing, spending time with family, watching the games and stuff. So and that's still something that I'm trying to balance, and I feel like I'm going back into that 20 hours a day in my office looking at the screen.
Right.
Like I don't even go out as far as like, unless I'm traveling, of course. But as far as like on a daily basis, when I come home, I'm in my office behind the computer. Right. I go eat, come back, I'm on the screen. Yeah. No happy hour or any things that you like. When I was working, I was like my schedule then. I didn't really, my schedule was not 9 to 5, it was like 10 to 7. Yeah. And I'm like, I wanted to do happy hour so bad. Yeah. But I couldn't because I don't have 8 to 5 or whatever the schedule is. So looking back, you're like, that's what I was really wanting to do. Happy hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you, man. I hear you. So, but basically, the grind don't stop. is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
the grind does not stop.
Yeah.
You got to keep going. I tell my friends, my apprentices, so called, my buddy John and Tony and the rest of the guys. You gotta keep grinding, because the one time that you slip up or you fall asleep, there'll be opportunity out there that you'll regret missing.
Yeah.
So
Now looking towards the future, as we mentioned, the market is low. All these cryptos are down, and we may not be out of the woods yet. We may dip lower.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, we most likely will, in my opinion. But when you think about what you want to invest into for the long term,
long cryptos,
like what do you long? Like you mentioned, for example, like Solana's a blockchain, and you really like Solana. Just like as far as what's out there that you maybe slowly dollar cost averaging into, or just putting money into. Are there any particular projects or?
I'm bullish on Ethereum.
Okay.
I think Ethereum is the future. I think Ethereum is better than Bitcoin. If I had to give,
a lot of people think Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin.
Yeah,
Are you in that? Are you in that? Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in that too, and I feel like the only reason why it's not flipping Bitcoin is because Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
And that's what, all the institutionals, when they come in, they buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is easily accessible to a lot of the people. And that's why Bitcoin is still number one. But there were more transactions on Ethereum than Bitcoin in 2022.
As far as the blockchain, got you.
There's a lot more activity and a lot more developers onto the Ethereum blockchain. So, not financial advice, but if I had to give financial advice, I remember I did post back in 2020 on my Twitter, and I said, sell everything, sell your house, your wife, your kids, your kidney, and buy Ethereum when it was $500. And it ended up going to like 5,000, which was like a 10x in a short amount of time. So if I had to dollar cost average into anything, it would be Ethereum is my main, and there's other coins. I mean, Ripple, XRP, they're supposed to be the bank of crypto. So, and they have a problem with the SEC as far as they got sued by the SEC. But if they are able to combat that, I think XRP will actually end up being one of the top cryptocurrencies. And my buddy's girlfriend works for XRP, and they're still hiring a lot of people. Meanwhile, all the other companies are laid off. You saw recently Google laid off people, Coinbase doing layoffs. So with all that coming, you just got to think there got to be maybe a recession coming, because layoffs tend to lead towards that. So we're not out of the woods yet. So I'm definitely I'm scaling out right now on this pump, and I expect to buy lower. I hope if it ends up going higher, so be it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I guess just on top of that, a continuation of this question. So once you're done, hypothetically done trading, got all the money you wanted in the world, got all the
I don't think that would ever happen. Got it's like an addiction, bro. Okay. But yeah, go ahead. People always say, like, if you have like $50 million, would you still do this? I'm like, I know guys who have 50 million and they're still doing this. And they're still, and they tell me, they're like, bro, you're not going to stop. I mean, granted, they're not as active as some of us. They just come around for the big trades and they go by the day. But they tell me, they're like, with the way you're going and grinding, they're like, you're not going to get this shit going. So, yeah. So that answers your question. But it will get there. I think with people tell me when you have, kids, that'll be a big change. I mean, I want to ask you, how you say you had recently had a kid, right?
Yeah.
So how did that change your view on life and with, how you're with your career and stuff? So
Man, still ambitious, you know what I'm saying? But then you always have to balance everything because you have to put in before I had to put in consideration my wife. Now I'm like, all right, that's one thing. Now time with the kids. You don't want to be like some delinquent father in like 10 years. Like, hey, I hate you, dad. Something like that. But it's still ambitious, but then you have to put everything else in factor. Like, is it worth it in 10 years? I can still make the same amount of money, maybe an extra year or two, but still have time with the family the way I want it to be. So,
I got similar advice from a friend who's, we do the same thing, and he recently had a kid, and I see he's like less active. Yeah. And he's, telling me, I got to be there for my kid, feed and all that, it's like 3 months, and they recently had to go to the hospital, so he was not online for a while. Yeah. And he's like, this is what you're going to deal with.
At that stage.
And he's like, you're going to just live with missing some things, but there are more important things out there. Yeah. So I think that when that happens for me, I think I'll probably change as far as being on it and keep going. But, you gotta keep grinding.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, listen, it's been a pleasure having you back on the show. We'll always love to get an update on how things are going, and especially given like there's been so much that's happened in the crypto market in the last year. I mean, if you were someone that was in the market, the crypto markets in general, but especially the crypto market with everything that has fallen, and even a lot of new projects that have come about, it's like. Feels like multiple years in one.
Yeah.
So
they said in crypto, a week is a year.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
So
that definitely makes sense.
So we like things moving quick.
Yeah.
Especially like when tokens are launching. Yeah. And the team says, we're going to launch next week. Yeah. We're like, the market will be dead by next week. Just go down. Like, nobody has patience. We want everything go. Like, go now. Like, no time. As soon as this happens, go to the next step. So in crypto, everyone is like, now. Yeah. Let's do it now. Yeah. Because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. And Bitcoin's going to go down. And then our investments are now. Nobody's going to invest. That has happened. Yeah. You invest into a project during when the market is hot, as far as, let's say, ICO wise. Yeah. Let's say you invested into, let's say, back in 2021, when Bitcoin was at its peak, you invested in a project, and you're like, just come out now when the market is
still
hot. Yeah. And they're like, no, we still have to build, and we're gonna come out in a year or two, and then by the time they come out, the market is like bloody. There's no one wants to invest, and then your investment is, you're like, who's gonna buy my bags? Man.
This is my last question. When you think about the future of crypto, what are you most excited for? Like, what are you most looking forward to? Is it because we know that you're heavy into the shit coins, and you're active in that, and you haven't really stopped. Yeah. So is that for you? Is that the love of it, or are there also other things that you are looking forward to when the market starts bubbling again, or even just as more infrastructure gets built out over the next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah. So as far as what I'm mainly excited about is being able to, as far as the use case for crypto, I want to be able to, the average daily life, like how we use our credit cards. Yeah. Or, a lot of people don't use cash anymore. Right. So, and people use card, Apple Pay to pay for things. Like, what I want to see, as far as what I'm excited about, is people to be able to spend their cryptos like how you would spend cash. Yeah. So that's that's what I'm looking forward to. And also, I mean, that would solve a lot of things as far as, also sending money back home.
Yeah.
Like I could send my cousin money back home within a second. Say, here's money. Go ahead. You can use that money within seconds. There's no third party or anything like that. So as far as the excitement, that's what I'm looking forward to as far as crypto. And I want it to be able to be used and on our daily lives. So that's what I want to see. But people still there's a lot of nerds and a lot of smart people in the market, like a lot of developers. They come from like Google, Apple, and they come into the blockchain space and they want to build something that would, benefit the average user. So I want that to be the main focus as far as what I'm excited about in crypto.
It sounds good. I'm good.
Yeah, man. Well, this is again. It's been a pleasure having you back on the show.
Thanks, man.
Man, we just thank you for tuning back into the Pepper Soup Talk Show.
Yep.
Stay tuned to what our boy Ferebory Keita has going on. How can people find you on social media?
Social media, Instagram, Wavy Slime 91.
Wavy Slime.
Telegram at Wavy Crypt 2. He'll put it all in the links, and also with the learning channel on my Telegram. So
Cool.
I know I put that link out there.
Yeah.
And I tell people go there, learn the basics, then hit me up. But people want to hit you up. Yeah.
Well, this has been another episode of the Pepper Soup Talk Show, and we'll catch you next time.